Welcome to Nightmare County. I'm your host, Randall M. Gould, and I want to thank you for returning to this video. And in this video, we are going to talk about, quite possibly, my favorite zombie movie. And honestly, I honestly believe it's the best zombie movie ever made. We're talking about George A. Romero's Day of the Dead. In my humble opinion, it is the best zombie movie. It's got everything in it that I could ever want in a zombie movie. I know most people will tell you that numero uno will always be George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead or even Night of the Living Dead. But I honestly believe that Day of the Dead is the best zombie movie ever made. I don't know if it's because I like the bleak nature of it, the music. I think George Harrison's music on this movie surpasses all the other movies when it comes to the soundtrack and everything. Even when you got Goblin's music on Dawn of the Dead, which is great. George Harrison's, I don't know, there's something about I can just listen to the soundtracks. It's one of my favorite horror movie soundtracks. And it's got this perfect sound to it that I just love. And John Harrison is a fantastic composer for the movies he has composed for and everything. To me, this movie just had everything. It's got the perfect amount of gore. It's bleak. It shows you that how man is quite possibly its own worst enemy in every aspect. And it's just, I don't know. I think Romero just always knew what to say about people and everything. And this movie he perfectly does it and everything. Of course, this movie came out in 1985. The studio gave him a budget of. They did start out with a higher budget, around like $7 million, but they ended up cutting it in half and ended up pretty much working with a $3.5 million budget. Of course, on hand, he had the very great special effects master, Tom Savini, who also had help with future icons of special effects, Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, who would later go on with create KNBFX with Robert Kurtzman. And the makeup and special effects in this movie are just chef's kiss, just fantastic. I love everything about the special effects in this movie. And you go along and you have I think Romero, he wrote one of a fantastic heroine with Laurie Cardell's character, Dr. Sarah Bowman. I think she's one of the, I don't know, I always enjoyed her character in this movie. At times she's slightly annoying, but she's only annoying because I like how bleak, I'm honestly how bleak everything is and how she's having to deal with all these men that she's surrounded by and everything. And she has to rise and be at their level and everything. And I think just Romero wrote her, I think, in a fantastic way, because you can relate to her, even, with her being a lady and everything. You can still relate to her plight and what she's having to deal with all the things around her, especially all these crazy men and everything she's definitely surrounded by. Then of course you have the very cool, I got their names written down, it's always cool, Terry Alexander is Johnny Flyboy, and Jarlath Conroy is Bill McDermott, and they are two very cool characters in this, especially Flyboy. He not this one, not the Flyboy from Dawn of the Dead. He was pretty much a jerk, and you wanted him to die. But Flyboy in this one, John, he's the guy that you wish you could be. Just no matter what, despite how bad things are, cool, calm, and collective, and you just stay out of trouble and keep your hand on the swivel and everything. To me, he's the perfect character in this. And then Bill McDermott's slightly alcoholic character is to me, he's fun, and with his outlook on things, and it's just those two characters. You need these two characters really for this movie, and it makes it work, in my opinion. Especially for Laurie, these are two people she can seek help from and confide in and everything, and I enjoy that. You also got Richard Liberty as Dr. Frankenstein, or Dr. Matthew Logan. He's Frankenstein, or Dr. Frankenstein is what they call him. That's what I know him as. But yeah, Dr. Matthew Logan. He's quite the unhinged scientist / surgeon, and he adds a great element to the movie, and he makes it a lot of fun. When you walk in, when they go into his area of, where he does all his work, his area and everything, and you get to see these zombies. It's fantastic. I enjoy every bit of it, and it offers up some of the coolest effects in the movie. But saying that, you also get to meet quite possibly the star of the movie for a lot of people, especially those who love zombie movies, and that is Bub the zombie. Bub is without a doubt my favorite zombie creation, right above Tarman from Return of the Living Dead. Everything about Bub is awesome because they gave him a lot of emotion, and I love that about Day of the Dead. This is the one film where you get to see the zombies evolve and you see their emotion and everything, and it makes it a little bit. It makes it more bleak and sad, I guess, in a lot of ways, and scarier because you realize that you die and you could start coming back around, but you're in a zombified state and everything. Bo would be played by Sherman Howard, and he just does a fantastic job. And I'll never forget whenever I went and saw Shaun of the Dead when it came out in theaters. This is at a time where a lot of people didn't. Zombie movies, up until I would say Resident Evil came out, and I talked about this in another video, zombie movies kind of had died out up until when Resident Evil, the video games came out, and the movie came out. It kind of gave people's interest, and you had 28 Days Later that came out right after that. And then finally, George Romero got the okay to make his fourth zombie film with Land of the Dead. And it just kind of, things kept on rolling. And then before you had Land of the Dead, you had Shaun of the Dead. And and I'll never forget watching that movie, and then they did this one segment where they pay homage to Bub the Zombie. And, seeing that, you're seeing that people have this love for Day of the Dead and Bub's Zombie, and it was exciting and everything. I mean, you got excited and we were like, yeah, standing in theaters and everything, laughing and everything. But it was awesome, and that's always, I think for a lot of people, Bub is like this iconic zombie for the franchise. I would throw in there Dr. Tongue, and if you don't know who Dr. Tongue is, I can't post probably an image of Dr. Tongue on this video without it getting flagged or whatever, getting marked. But it's one of the coolest effects in the movie, and he's one of the first major zombies you see that even has his own action figure. So when you're iconic, when you're a zombie and you get like a action figure based on that character, he's another iconic zombie that you see in this movie. The only other one other than Bub that you really pay a lot of attention to, and you only see him for a little bit, but it's iconic. When you see him, it's iconic enough to warrant an action figure, and it's awesome to see. Day of the Dead was an awesome movie, but an awesome movie needs an equally awesome bad guy. And if you know anything about zombie movies, it's not just the zombies that are the bad guys. It's usually your human element that's also the bad guy. And you have the perfect bad guy in Joseph Pilato's Captain Henry Rhodes, and he's unhinged as hell. And but he adds. There's times when you're like, you want to say maybe he's kind of right, but you're also realizing no, he's just insane. And he's going nuts because of the way everything is, and he thinks he has some kind of control when he isn't the type of person who has any kind of control whatsoever. And there's some of the best lines that comes from him, and some of the just some great scenes with him. And without him, the movie wouldn't work. You need him for the movie to work. Whereas Dawn of the Dead, you really did. You had the gang that comes in that causes problems with Kim Forey's character, and all those characters and everything. Danny, with when they're in the mall, and the zombies, of course, they're a presence in the movie. They're a very threatening presence, but it's always the human element that ends up messing everything up, almost in all these movies. And in this movie, it's kind of like, whereas you didn't get to know the biker gang, that's going to cause problems in Dawn of the Dead. Whereas in this movie, you get to sit in the room and see the captain, Rhodes, just kind of be this unhinged character, and they're like, crap, these people are having to deal with this guy and his goons or people that are under him. It makes it more threatening, actually, and you'll end up being more afraid of them than you are of the zombies, because it's like you can almost know what you can do with a zombie. You can kind of outpace them and stay away from them. But when you have these people who can lose their mind and they just start doing crazy shit, that's the problem you're going to have, and they're, to me, far more dangerous than ever the zombies ever will be. But yeah, I'll never forget watching Day of the Dead. My first zombie movie, of course, I tell people this all the time, and I've said in a previous video, was Tom Savini directing the remake of Night of the Living Dead, which is one of my favorite, top 5 favorite zombie movies. Simply for the fact it's the first one I ever saw. It scared me when I was a kid, and I just grew up loving it. And I would eventually find my way back to the very first George A. Romero directed Night of the Living Dead. I enjoyed that film. In spite of being in black and white, it was still great. And then I fall in succession with Dawn of the Dead, which became a favorite. I mean, me and one of my best friends, we constantly, we say you bastard, you bastards, you bastards, all the time from that movie and everything. Because there's a certain scene, if you haven't seen it, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody who happens to watch this and wants to watch Dawn of the Dead, there's that scene where someone gets bit and they start saying, you bastards. And we constantly say that to each other whenever something would happen, like when we were at work or whatever. Just, nerd things, when you do stuff like that. And then, of course, then I would see Day of the Dead right after Dawn of the Dead. I'd go back to the rental store and I'd rent Day of the Dead. And just fell in love with it. It really became my favorite. It's probably the one zombie movie I rated more than any others. And I would want to show it to my friends whenever I got a chance. Luckily, you run across people who fall in love with these movies along with you and everything. And I still call those people my friends. I didn't scare them away with me showing these gory masterpieces and everything. Of course, I would go on and don't get me wrong, I love Lucio's Zombie. It's one of my it's up there. It's definitely in my top 5 as well. Top 10 if anything. Zombie, City of the Living Dead, The Beyond, all the Italian zombie gore fests that are fantastic. But Romero's Day of the Dead is up. And I'm a big fan of Romero's Land of the Dead. I'm not gonna lie. I went with my friend that I just mentioned that we used to quote from Dawn of the Dead. We went and saw Land of the Dead, and we were not. He wasn't impressed with it as much as I was. I loved every moment of Land of the Dead, and I think honestly, and I understand why people critique it the way they did. Whereas Day of the Dead has this very bleak atmosphere to it. It's very almost like the atmosphere is so thick you can almost choke on it, and everything is so bleak. Whereas Land of the Dead, and I keep saying that word bleak because it is, but the Land of the Dead, things feel so open. You realize, they're just dealing with everything that's going on, and everyone's just living like normal lives. Whereas Day of the Dead is like you really feel like there's no way of ever having any sense of a normal life whatsoever. Land of the Dead is like they've already learned how to deal with it, and they're just living with zombies, and they are, there seems like there's hope still there, whereas Day of the Dead has no hope whatsoever in it. And I think that's why people kind of have problems with Land of the Dead. But what I did love is the evolution of the zombies in Land of the Dead. They are getting smarter, and they're remembering things, which is awesome. But and of course Romero's Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead. I watched Diary of the Dead not too long ago. I still enjoy it. Saw it in theaters. It's been since when it came out in theaters was the last time I saw it, so I rewatched this the other day. I watched it for Halloween actually. I still enjoyed it. Not as good as I remember enjoying, but Survival of the Dead's hard for me to watch. It's the CGI, blood, and everything. It really just ruins the whole movie for me. I don't know what it is. I just don't enjoy Survival of the Dead, and I love Romero's films so much. He was such an awesome guy to meet and everything. I just wish that Survival of the Dead would have been a better movie. And it sucks that he never got to direct any of the Walking Dead episodes, since they pretty much everything's based off of everything he created and started and everything. And, of course, the comic books and everything are what influenced the show, but the comic books were influenced by the movies. That being said, though, Day of the Dead is a fantastic movie. If you've never seen it, gosh, you need to see it. I would go ahead and watch the original Night of the Living Dead on up to Day of the Dead. Land of the Dead. Great weekend watch right there. And then I would throw in Tom Savini's directed remake of Night of the Living Dead. It's awesome. You got Tony Todd in it, who just does it. Is always a fantastic actor in everything he does. With great special effects. If you don't like the effects, some people like black and white movies. You want to enjoy the first Night of the Living Dead. The remake, totally, you can watch that in front of Dawn of the Dead and be totally fine. Like I said, but if you like great special effects, especially a good gore, fantastic gore, a great musical score, solid acting from everybody involved, and they act unhinged, like I think everybody would actually act if this type of zombie apocalypse actually happened. They do a good job. Everything. George A. Romero always directs with a sure hand, and this movie just proves it. It's sad that he's not around anymore, but at least he left these movies for us all to watch. He's immortalized himself forever, because people can continue to watch these movies till I'm long gone, and past that. So, and I love that everyone keeps finding them. I love talking about these movies. Day of the Dead is usually the zombie movie I tell everybody about first, because it's a fantastic watch. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd greatly appreciate it. Comment below what your favorite zombie movie is, and we'll talk about it and everything. You can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook under Nightmare County, or Rando M. Go also on Instagram, or just comment below underneath this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I didn't get the videos out I wanted for Halloween or anything like I did, but finally getting this video out to talk about one of my favorite zombie movies. And we'll have others. We'll talk about other zombie movies later on as well, because I want to talk about Lucio's zombie films and some of the other 80s zombie flicks, after like Return of the Living Dead and so on. But give some of these other zombie movies that people probably haven't watched a bigger audience by talking about them, for the people who do happen to find these videos and stuff. But yeah, comment, and I love replying back to everybody, and I greatly appreciate y'all and everything. I will have a video out later on Saturday for a slasher movie Saturdays, which I'm going to do no matter what every Saturday. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you have a good night, and as I always say, don't be a stranger, and tune in.